Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm here with Erica Six. You may have seen her on Instagram. She's hysterical. She's a blonde educator. She just is like everything all encompassed into a great hairstylist. Erica, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
So for people who are watching who don't know who you are, where can they find you on Instagram for not just a good laugh, but some really good hair education as well?
You can find me at Erica Six Style. So ERICA, the number six style.
And you own a salon?
I do. I co-own it. So I do have a
Okay.
business partner, but yeah, we've been doing it since February together.
As an owner since February. And then how
Yes.
long have you been doing hair for?
10 years now. Yeah,
What,
graduated in 2013. So a full decade. So
did
that's
you go over
crazy.
from high school into hair? Or like,
No, I actually started a little bit later. So I'm actually 37. So I
okay.
didn't start until I was about 26. Yeah.
Okay. What
Yeah.
so you were the old person in hair school, huh?
Well, it's funny. Thank God I was not completely the old person. I had some women who were actually 10, 15, 20 years older than me. So I was kind of like in the middle,
Okay.
definitely a lot of high schoolers or right out of high schoolers, and then little old me,
Was
big
it
old
something
me.
was it something you wanted to do like since you were a kid?
No,
Uh,
it's funny. My mom did hair, and
okay.
I remember over the years she kind of encouraged me like, "Oh, you should do it." And I had changed my mind about a million times, and so it was something that I did not picture myself doing. But as time went on, I just did not like regular college, and I dropped out, and I just thought I got to do something that's more artistic, and so it just seemed like that maybe that path would
Yeah.
be right for me. So I'm glad I did it because it's like I'm very happy with what I do. So
That's awesome. Your mom pushed you.
yeah,
I talk to so many people and like
yeah,
their parents don't push them.
yeah,
It's like don't do
for
hair,
sure.
don't do hair. But what about like did you talk to your mom about this? Like what about it did she want you to be in the industry for? Like what is your mom still in it? Does she love it? Did she leave it? Like what happened?
Well, she never worked like in a salon, but she did it for, she did my sister's hair all growing up. And she did a great job for like not, I mean, she did hair and stuff, but like I said, not in a salon setting. So I think she did a really great job. And I think she just thought she knew that I hated regular college and she felt like would be good at something like that because she knows who I am.
Yeah.
And so, it was good advice for sure. I gave my sister her first haircut when I was 3 years old with her actual shears.
All right.
So,
Uh,
it's funny because I think about that. It's like, well, I guess maybe I was destined to be in
yeah.
it from a very young
You got
age.
a picture of that by any chance?
I keep asking her for it, so
Okay.
there's gotta be something, but she was really upset. It was my sister's first haircut. I'm shocked that I didn't cut her or myself, to be honest, because those shears are sharp.
They're really I actually just thought about that now. That's dangerous.
Yeah, super dangerous.
Good for you.
I cornered her into the dining room on a beanbag chair and just whacked away, but I've definitely improved since then. So,
So this brings up a whole different dynamic I want to talk about then too.
mhm.
So many people are like, I wish I did hair, and they're like mid 20s and like they went to college and they did like what they're supposed to do,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
What advice do you have to give somebody who like still wants to do hair? It's like I'm 26, I'm too old. And it's like
Hmm.
I love that when I talk to somebody who's like 25 or 26 and they think they're too
Yeah.
old. You're not too old. Like literally, no one
No,
thinks you're too
it's
old.
so young, especially, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but it's like,
Yeah.
that is not old at all. So I would say,
No.
honestly, go for it. I mean, even if you're in your 30s, it's something I feel like that's still not too old. You can still do a lot. I see stylists that get in the industry and crush it within the first 2 years. So I feel like if it's something that you're passionate about, you can really like do something with it in a very short amount of time. So I say go for it. I mean, what do you think?
I did hair right after high school. I wanted to go in high school to like we have a
Oh, you
vo tech
did?
program out here in Jersey. I just didn't. I wasn't a good student. I should have dropped out like freshman year. I wanted to, and I just didn't have the attendance. I didn't have the grades, and so I couldn't
Um,
go to vo tech. So I went after high school, and then I did hair for like 4 years. At first, I dropped out of hair school the first time. I was
oh,
just
you did?
yeah, I was a nutcase. I was very wild when I was younger.
Hey, me too. So yeah.
And then I took a year off completely, went back to hair school again, did hair. I did hair for a soap opera for a short period of time. And like
Oh,
4 years, 4 or 5 years, I did hair. And then I joined the Marine Corps after 9/11.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you
And
telling me
so I
that.
took off, like I was like out of hair for like 10 years. And like around my young 30s, I got back in it again. And so it's
That's
like I just
crazy.
started from scratch. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
yeah, I
because so
think,
many things changed during that time.
but
So,
I had the core fundamentals already from doing
mhm.
hair. So it wasn't like starting from scratch at 30. So
Yeah.
it's just a lot, but I think your people skills are there,
Hmm.
right? It's like when you think of someone who you've at that point in time, you've been to salons already a good amount of time. You've been a
Yeah.
client for a good portion of your life. And I think your ability to understand the personal dynamic of our industry,
Hmm.
the customer relationship, and how we handle that, you're more mature. Your skills may not be
Absolutely.
there as yet, but you can fast track that by just being likable and being relatable. So as long as you're not
Definitely.
like really terrible at doing hair, you have some kind of an idea, you could build up and be where you would have been at by 33 if you start at 30, where you could have been at when you started when you were 20.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
totally.
it's all about your mindset. Like, mindset's everything.
I agree. I
You know,
totally agree.
yeah, because how I mean, my younger years doing hair, it's just a lot of partying.
Well, I was going to touch on that because
Yeah.
I almost got kicked out of cosmetology school. I mean,
Oh, really?
technically, I was supposed to because attendance, as we know, they're really strict on that. And
Mhm.
I was pulled in the office, and it was like, thank God I was likable. So they're like, you cannot tell anybody, but like we should be kicking you out. But I had 2 DUIs. I went through a major like crazy period in my life, like really, really rock bottom
In your
during cosmetology
in your
school.
mid-20s, late 20s?
Yeah,
20s?
mid-20s.
Okay.
I mean, I was very wild, probably like you, like partied basically for about 12 years straight, until I turned 30 and kind of got my shit together. But yeah, cosmetology school was really rough for me. So I'm just glad I made it through and they allowed me to finish.
If you take these degenerates and like who don't like they're misfits in their mind because everyone's like,
Yeah.
oh, you didn't go to college, you're a misfit. Hair is not that by any means, but you put them in a room and it's like just gasoline on a fire. So yeah, I have some crazy times in hair school with some certain people, but the Marine Corps is
Yeah.
no better. I mean, you take all the same amount of people and put them in a friggin' in a barracks, and it's even worse. But alcohol. So are you sober right now? Do you drink anymore?
No, I'm sober. I've been sober
That's
since I was 30.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank
So
you.
I stopped drinking this past May,
Good
and yeah,
job.
and
Congrats.
it wasn't like I got a DUI. I've gotten pulled over plenty of times. My whole family's
Same.
cop, so I literally have a ton of
Oh,
badges, and it was like, here you go. I was really good at articulating how I could still drive to certain police officers. I don't hope I get anyone in trouble, but God has always been on my side. Never DWI. Never something that affected my life to the point where I was forced to stop drinking. It
Mhm.
was like the birth of my daughter, and it was like seeing
Oh,
my
yeah.
daughter and then thinking about how I am when I'm drunk. I'm a bourbon drinker. I like to drink bourbon, and I
Mhm.
could drink a bottle of bourbon and continue a conversation with you, hop in my car and drive home. And it was like, what if I'm drunk and something happens? I got to take her to the hospital, and I can't. You know, what if she sees me drunk and now she thinks it's okay for her future man in her life to drink like that, and he's abusive, and then I'm inviting her into that situation in her life. It
Mhm.
was like, what kind of man do I want her to marry? And I was like,
I love that.
let me just be that person. And really, not a day that goes by. Like I have alcohol in my salon. I'll smell the bottle of like
Same.
bourbon.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't feel the need to drink ever, but
Uh-huh.
I love to drink. I mean, I love drinking. So it's people are
Mhm.
like, oh, do you miss it? I'm like, yeah, I miss it every day.
Yeah.
But I wasn't alcoholic like to where I needed to survive, but it
Yeah.
wasn't serving me. And it's like people don't understand. Well, can't you just have one? I could just have one, but
Mhm.
what's one going to do for me?
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
I love what you just said about your daughter. I think that's very sweet. I think more people should have that mindset because I just think that's how so many things get passed along from the next to the next generation. And I just think
Yeah.
I just love that. And I think it's very responsible. And I can relate. Like people ask me all the time, do I miss drinking or going out and doing all these things? And it's like, absolutely. Like that was a huge part of my life. I could not identify me without that. So it was I mean, I couldn't even say, "Oh, being sober forever." It was like, "I'm just not drinking today." That's how I had to frame it for a while till I could, like, wrap my mind around it because it was just so scary. And so, it's just kind of crazy how much yeah, like you said, it just didn't serve me anymore.
Yeah.
You don't have to be, like, actually dependent on alcohol to be considered an alcoholic, in my opinion. I think it's like, if it's causing issues in your life or you're just not living your life to the fullest, maybe it's time to look at that.
I remember at my brother-in-law's birthday party, and I was just sipping bourbon,
Mhm.
and I went for the bottle. It was gone, and so I
Oh,
had like some of the other bottle, and probably I shouldn't have drove home. I shouldn't be telling a story, but I think I did. And I
hey, I
remember
have
waking
plenty of those too. It's
I remember
okay.
driving down the shore, and I felt like, I was gonna have like a seizure or should go to hospital. I was like,
Oh,
"This is not the way someone should feel."
mm-mm.
I was starting a family vacation too. It was like, "We're going on the shore, got shore house for the week." And the first couple days, it just was like shot. I was like, "This is like," it was the beginning of like me telling myself, "I don't need to do this anymore."
Mhm.
Because I could, if I really force myself, just have one. But like I said, then one turns to two, turns into three, and then it
Yeah.
spirals. Once you get over that hill of like
Oh, yeah.
too much, and I remember starting when I was doing hair, we were a big drinking salon. My first
Mhm.
big salon I worked at, and we would drink like during the holidays. He would have a table set up, and I remember being pretty drunk for like my last two clients of the day. And I remember, coming to work hungover, and I was
Yeah.
like, my client, if I smell alcohol on people, they have to smell it on me,
Mm.
you know?
They do. Mhm.
And it was like, why? That's probably why I wasn't that busy. It's like if you
Yeah.
think of a doctor, if you want to hold yourself as a professional,
Mhm.
right? Because now we're talking care industry. How many doctors or surgeons go to do surgery hungover or
Oh,
drunk from afternoon cocktails?
yeah. I would hope none.
None. And if they do, they're going to be exposed.
Absolutely.
So you're not
Mhm.
like, what kind of professional are you? And that is like, that's something when you think of yourself in our industry, you want to make professional money. Like you want to be the elite,
Yes.
be
I
the
was just
elite.
gonna go there. It's like and that's where it is for me. It's like I knew once I got sober, because I was not sober the first several years of my career. I was super flaky. I couldn't retain a good clientele. I mean, I actually have about a handful of people that have stayed me with through that. I thank them all the time. I'm like, "I don't know what you saw in me, but thank you for sticking with me." But most people moved on because I was not reliable and stuff. I did okay hair, but, like, I just wasn't fully in it, and so once I got sober, I was like, "I'm either gonna commit to this career or I'm gonna move on to something different." And so once I did, it was like it was just so great because I knew if I'm gonna do this, I wanna make more and more money, and I wanna be the best I can be. And with that, it's like you gotta be a professional on every single aspect.
Yeah.
You gotta look the part, you gotta talk the part, you gotta, like, just present yourself on yeah, on the elite. So,
Yeah. There's nothing worse than like, I see it with my team now. They come in hungover. I'm like, oh my God, I don't miss that for anything. But
yeah.
like, if you give that up, and I tell everyone, why don't you take a year off? Just see how your year can progress. Not
Mhm,
forever, just give yourself 1 year. Oh, I
mhm.
don't need to do that. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not saying you are.
Yeah,
But if you can't go a year, then you are an alcoholic,
mhm.
right? So
Yeah,
just try it.
I
And
would
you'll see
agree.
your whole entire life will change. And like you said, the clients, you could tell their best is not their best if you're hungover.
Oh, no
And
way.
no
Yeah.
way. And the clients are gonna appreciate you because I'm paying like, if you wanna charge good money, like, if you wanna
Mhm.
charge 250, 300, 400, 500 for a full highlight and you're
Yeah.
hungover, you're not respecting your client.
No.
You're not
Uh-uh.
respecting the business either.
Mm-mm.
So, if you can't be mature enough to go home early the night before, if you can't be mature enough to say no, then just cut it out of your life. I still like to go
Absolutely.
out. Like, I'll still go to a bar with my friends. I'll just drink like,
Yeah.
like a non-alcoholic beer, or I'll just drink a club soda.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
it doesn't
do,
mean that you have to have, like, a lame life or
yeah,
anything like that. It's just reframing some things and just making different choices
yeah.
with what you decide to consume. So that way you actually feel better and yeah, it was a huge improvement for me. I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I was still doing drugs and was drinking.
Yeah.
Like there just would be no
Well,
all of this.
drugs goes
So,
hand in hand with alcohol in our industry.
yeah,
So when
yeah.
I started, it was the late 90s and Coke
Mhm.
was still pretty big. And it
Yeah.
was just, I know clients that would I know stylists that would run to the car, blow a couple lines, come back into work.
Mhm.
You went out with your
Yeah.
friends, you would drink. Like, and usually
Mhm.
when it comes to Coke or it comes to drug abuse, you don't start with the drugs. It's you start drinking and then
Yes.
it's like, oh, that's the best idea ever.
Uh-huh. I
Then it's
that's what I
7
was gonna
a.m.
say. That's why I can't handle alcohol. I do the most stupid shit when I drink. versus anything else because it just makes you go, I want to do that too. Let's go.
Yeah,
It's okay.
that's a great idea. Like
Yeah.
nobody smoked a joint and was like, let's go rob a bank.
No.
No, you order food and you just was stupid.
Yeah.
Alcohol is like, let's go race cars, and you're all fucking wild and drunk, and then you
Yep.
slam into a tree. Like if you're stoned, it's like, no, man, I'm just gonna go home.
Yeah, you're going like 30 miles an
Yeah,
hour into 60 miles an hour, and you are going to McDonald's. That's for sure.
pretty much you're gonna be safe. And if you hit anything, you're not going that fast.
Exactly.
But even cannabis though it is abused, and that's the one
Absolutely.
thing in our industry too. Like sober means sober. You know, I do microdose, so I love being transparent.
No, I think honestly, I mean, total transparency, I have actually looked into that because I actually think that there's a lot of benefit with that. So I
Huge
do
benefit.
not judge that at all. I
Yeah,
think that that's something that I would even explore for myself, depending on what it is.
yeah,
Because it's really not getting high. It's like a medicinal benefit at that point.
yeah.
So I think that that's amazing. I would love to know more about your
But
experience
yeah, I'll
with
tell
that.
you, 100% tell you more. But cannabis is so abused because people think, oh no, it's legal now. It does.
Mhm.
It's it's not like alcohol, but it does slow you down and it does impair you. But when it comes to microdosing, right, it's zero point 0.2 grams of psilocybin, and so it's a psychoactive mushroom, but it's such a minute dose that has
Mhm.
no effect on anything. Like you don't trip from it at all.
Yeah.
And lion's mane, reishi, curcumin, and turmeric, I believe, are also in my microdose.
Oh, cool.
And it's like ever see Limitless with
Yes. Oh, of
who was in it?
course.
Bradley Cooper,
Um,
right?
yes.
So you take it, you don't feel jittery like coffee, right? You don't feel like a lot of energy. You just feel a little happier.
Mhm.
And like when you start working on something, like let's say you're doing emails, your responses are quicker. You know, if you're doing like a color service, you're like your toners pop in your head a little better. You're able to really do your formulations a lot faster. It just makes things easier and clearer for you, and you really feel like you're limitless.
Wow.
If
I
you
love it.
abuse it, yeah, but it it's a game changer. Like people in Silicon Valley, like you when I code, because I built a website for my salon. Like when I'm
Mhm.
coding back end JavaScript or CSS or HTML, like I'm just like typing, figuring it out. Like I'm just firing on all cylinders.
Wow.
It really is amazing. Like, but anything else, if you abuse it, you can abuse it. And
Yeah.
when it comes to psychedelics in general, I have a different perspective on psychedelics because I've done ayahuasca, and so
I
I've
have
done
not done that, but I've
no,
honestly I've looked into that before too, because I know it's just like a completely life-changing experience. So I think it's amazing.
it's huge. I've done 2 ceremonies, and the first one I died, like spiritually you die, and I was like, at one point in the ceremony, I mean, I could take it the whole entire call, but the call's about you, not me. And when I did it, like I got to a certain point of my ceremony when I was like, how do I know I didn't die in a car accident 20 years ago? And everything that just happened is a figment of my imagination. And then I was
I
like,
mean,
I'm fucking dead, but you don't know if you are or not. Like you
yeah.
like, and it was so deep in the ceremony that it gave me such a different perspective on life because people in the ceremony were going through stuff. And I realized we're all connected through one source. Like she might have had a bad experience, but maybe she went through that because so I don't have to go through it. And it gets really deep. And it was probably the most life-changing experience I had up until the birth of my daughter, watching her being born. Like that
Oh,
was like, the ayahuasca thing was like, wow, really gave you a perspective on life. And I think that people who do venture in psychedelics, they the reason why people have bad trips when they smoke weed or like they do mushrooms is because they're not aligned with their true self, and it
mhm.
exposes that on them. And so
That's
my
right.
second ceremony, I was pretty dialed in with my life, and it
I
was
love
the
it.
most amazing ceremony in the world.
Wow.
And so when you're doing stuff and you're not having a good experience, whether it be cannabis or psychedelics, it's because it's telling you the plant medicine, which you're part of the same chemicals and formation, it's telling you, hey, you're fucked up somewhere along the line. Like fix yourself. And that's why they tell you to like really abstain from anything, any sexual activity, abstain from certain foods before a
Oh, wow.
ceremony.
Oh,
Because
that's
you'll
cool.
yeah, and if you're on the wrong path, like you will get exposed. Like your true subconscious
Yeah.
gets exposed and it tells you that you're on the wrong path.
Well, I mean, this is like a long time ago when I did actually just I wasn't microdosing mushrooms,
Mhm.
but I was actually just doing
Yeah.
mushrooms. And this was like in my 20s. So a decade ago. But I remember having some really like life-changing experiences with actually that. I mean, it just like it's hard to explain it until you experience it. But like anybody who's done it, who's had one, they're like, no, I get it. It changed the way that I thought and
Yep.
viewed certain things, and it helped me get through this specific thing that I was going through. It was like, it was the most amazing thing, and it was for mushrooms. And so
Yeah.
it was like, I don't know. I just always think about that, and that's why I'm kind of curious about the ayahuasca thing, because
Yeah.
I just think it would be so amazing for like where I'm at with everything that I have going on. I think it might be like a good thing for me.
It would be huge. There's a resort in Costa Rica.
Is that where you went?
No, I went to an Indian reservation in Florida
Okay, cool.
with a shaman from Colombia. And it was wild. It was like very backwoods redneck ceremony.
Oh my God.
Like it was just reckless because it was like no one watching us. Everyone's on ayahuasca, even the shaman. It was
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
it was one guy who wasn't. He was in control of the fire in the middle and like make sure the fire kept going for the ceremony. And then my second one was in a rent controlled apartment in Manhattan
Okay.
with a shaman from Brazil, another shaman from where was she from? She did the combo, the tree frog medicine, which I did that night. And the ayahuasca, I was told, was Terrence McKenna's ayahuasca he grew in Hawaii, which they wound up getting. Terrence McKenna's a big advocate of psychedelics, and you could Google him. Anyone watching, it's wild. A lot of his stuff is out there on the web. And that was like, literally, it was a rent-controlled apartment in Manhattan, so it was maybe 500 square feet.
Oh my!
And the dude who owned it had a long beard, and he hung out in his room and came out periodically. And my friend had a really bad experience, so I had to talk him off the ledge. And my intention with that ceremony was, I wanted to find out what my calling was in life. And so I went into it with that intention, and I had to help my friend because he thought he was dying, wanted to go to the hospital, and I helped him literally off the ledge that night.
Oh
and I was like, my intention is to help people. I get the most joy out of helping somebody. And so I was like, that's what I got to do. That was my calling.
Oh my gosh. I was just going to ask you if you were with people during both of your experiences, but
I was with like 30 people the first one.
wow.
So I walked up alone when it got really heavy because I like to be by myself sometimes. And the second one, I was literally 4 cups of medicine deep. I'm a jaguar running through the jungle. And this kid's like, I hear him in the back in the room trying to talk to the shaman, like, I'm dying. I need to go to the hospital. I was like, no. Like, I'm having such a great experience. So I had to get up. I'm looking at him, and his face is going forward to his right, my left. I'm like, dude, I can't take you. We're not going anywhere to the hospital. Like, you've been through this. This is like his 5th or 6th ceremony. I was like, you've been here before. You know what's going on. He's like, yeah, but this is different. I'm like, it's not different. Just don't fight it. Go with it. What is it telling you? What's the medicine telling you? And at one point, I'm like rubbing his back while the shaman singing the song, and I'm trying to give him my energy to calm him down. And finally, he was good.
Oh, good. Yeah. Oh my God, that's stressful.
It was wild. We had 2 strangers in there that were like, they call him the street Buddha. He walks around Manhattan like a monk outfit. This guy, and he was there with a female friend of his. So it was those 2, me and my friend. I'm not gonna say his name, and the shamans in this little ass apartment, and they were singing the songs, and it was just very surreal. My wife hates me. I tell these stories because she's always like, "You're so weird with this stuff," but it's part of who identifies who I am, right? Like that's part of my journey in life.
I think it's cool. Honestly, there's a lot of very successful people in the world that support ayahuasca and microdosing. So all it takes is a little Google search to find out a lot of these people that we, find to be the most successful people in the world that are doing it. So there's something to it. That's why I've been more open about it.
It's definitely not like alcohol.
No,
near.
no.
Like alcohol lowers your vibration. I feel like your frequency, especially the next day, it's like you make bad decisions. You're not happy. Like no one ever woke up and was like, oh my God, I'm so happy I blacked out last night and don't remember anything.
So true.
Like you call your friends and you talk yourself up to find out what happened, but you don't feel good. Like why do things that don't make you feel good?
Exactly.
And I started thinking about how do I want, like back to my daughter again, how do I want her to act? Like, would I want her to get wasted drunk? No. Blacked out at a college party? Definitely not.
Yeah.
And then it's like, would I want her to try ayahuasca? If she needed it, I would probably be more okay with that than I would anything else, like alcohol wise, partying wise, that I've done in my past. So
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
you know?
Yeah, I definitely support that way more. And I know with mushrooms, especially in microdosing, like again, you're not having a trip,
Mhm.
you are just having like this very small effect on yourself. So it's almost like replacing like antidepressants
Yep,
or some of these
100%.
anti-anxiety medications. That's why I just think this is where our world, our country needs to be like almost supporting that rather than all these prescription pills that actually do so much more harm than good for us. And I just can't get on board with like some of the things that our
Yeah,
country does.
no, I
And
agree.
pharmaceutical world and like the food industry are something that I am so not in alignment with our country's ways.
Yep.
But that's a
Yeah,
whole
that's
nother
one other
thing.
another podcast. And, our industry itself, like, we deal with people, right? So we deal with their energy. And
Yeah.
how do you now as an owner, right? How do you deal with your client's energy? How do you deal with your
Mhm.
staff's energy? And people are always like every client's on pills. Stylists are on pills. They eat like shit. The food you're eating makes you depressed. The red food
Yeah.
dyes and things.
Oh, I
And
know.
it's like part of the program I like to teach is self-development first. Like
Mhm.
creating the person you admire and giving them to the world, or creating that stylist that deserves to be successful so it attracts success into your life. And how do you help? Because you're an owner now, how do you coach your younger staff? Do you like stuff down the throat, like make sure you exercise, working out as a natural antidepressant? What are you eating that shit for? Like, how do you handle your team? Like when you have a young protege, have you dealt with that yet?
A little bit. I
Coaching?
mean, we have rental,
Ah,
stylists,
okay.
but so it is a little bit different.
Mhm.
However, there's a few other girls and like I would say 20s to 30s is like the age that we have right now. I mean, we definitely all like openly talk and I talk about all of this stuff very openly on a daily basis. It's something
Yeah.
I really believe in, like eating healthy, like all like the basic things, but makes such a big impact. And so everyone knows my beliefs on like the pharmaceutical world, the
Yep.
food industry, like the sobriety piece, like all of that stuff. And I don't go like, you need to be sober. I would definitely not ever approach it that way. But just sharing the benefits of like what I've received since implementing these things is
Mhm.
kind of how I like to approach things. And I know there's another girl who's very similar to me. She's like a decade younger than me, but she is dialed in with her health. And she, feels great because of it. So I feel like we definitely have a lot of people that do think about that stuff, maybe because we've attracted that in
Yeah.
already naturally.
It's
So,
culture. Yeah.
yeah,
Do you
for
guys
sure.
have like your core mission statement and core values in your salon?
We don't have it posted, but I think
Okay.
that that's something that we'll need to work on because,
'Cause
yeah.
I like having a booth rental or chair rentals. The way I do my salon is commission based, except
Mhm.
I have really high commissions. So it's almost like they're renting the chair. Like
I
we
love
go from
that. That's
60 to
awesome.
70% commission. Suites are
Wow.
really popular around us. So I want to create an
Yes,
environment where they don't need to go to a suite. You can make more money working on my team than you could
totally.
actually owning a salon or a suite. So that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to create. And one of the things is like core values is so important to get everyone in the
Mhm.
same boat rowing in the same direction. And it's like your team, like they're your team, they're your support system. Like
Mhm.
it's it was always a question for me on like renting chairs or not renting chairs. How do you keep that team environment? Because they're independent with their own
Yes.
brand.
Yep.
What tips can you give to any owners out there, like to keep your team environment in their salon and also have booth rental? What worked for you so
That's
far?
So, I mean, with my business partner and I, because we decided to do this, but we also wanted to have like some control. So we've been very selective with who we bring in. And so when we have multi steps involved in like hiring someone. And it's really, we definitely are very transparent about like what we're looking for. And we know that we can't legally be like, well, you have to do this, but this is like our culture agreement. So this is what we're looking for within someone. Does that align with you? And if it does, fantastic. We'll move forward. We'll do an audition, see if like it feels good for you, see if it feels good for us. So I feel like just being very selective with who you bring in to and like being very transparent about what your beliefs are, what your values are, what you're looking for, and then not just bringing in anybody, like really sticking with that. So that's why we've been slow growing because we are very particular with the kinds of people that we're looking to attract and have as our stylists. So that way it feels really good in there from like a stylist perspective and a client's perspective. And I feel like we have done that. Like we have no drama. We have it feels good in there. So I guess it's just being really selective and identifying what you want as a salon owner and like the culture of your place.
I
So
love that. That's
yeah.
awesome. As an
Yeah.
owner, you're always like, oh, we want people around the chair. We want more people, more people, more people.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
next you know, your house collapses because the foundation's built on
Mhm.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would be over full, like way over
Mm.
full if we had accepted everyone so far, but that's not the case. So we just, yeah, like I said, we've been very picky, but I just think it makes the most sense.
It does.
So,
As
yeah.
somebody who hired people because I needed bodies in my salon and then
Mhm.
realized they weren't going to work out, I
Yeah.
always go my gut instinct now. And now I'm back to square one again. I got rid of some
Mhm.
people. Some people wanted to open up a suite. I love them to death. And now I'm like, all right, I have my core team here. The next
Mhm.
person I add is going to add immense value and be cohesive to our
Yes.
team and our core value and our mission statement.
I love
So,
that.
so happy you did that. That's because so many salon owners, when they first start, you panic. And you're like, well, I need to get people in here. And the same thing can
Yeah.
actually work as clients too. Like there's certain clients that just may not vibe with you. And like, you
Yes.
know, right away, like you do a consultation and you're like, you're not going to like this, or this is not going to work out well.
Mhm.
Just don't do it, or let them know, hey, we
Yes.
might need to do it in stages. And young stylists who are watching, it's okay to be like, hey,
Mhm.
I don't feel comfortable doing this. Maybe there's another stylist that might be better, and give them to someone in your salon. Like,
Mhm.
because that client will come back to you eventually. Like once you build your skill set back up again, and that other client is getting too expensive, like the other stylist is rather. So
Yes.
always be honest and transparent with no matter what you do in
Right.
the industry. And that
Mhm.
was like, I used to do it all the time. I'm like, yeah, I could do it. And I go in the back, I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, like I knew this was a bad idea. And if you know it's a bad idea, just articulate that to the client and be like, we'll give it a shot. Like always under promise, over deliver. But
Yes.
let it know. Let's try like a face frame highlight instead of a partial or even a full. See how you lift and see if it's even worth anyone's time.
Yeah, I love
And then
that.
yeah, and then that way it's like no one's truly upset. You only wasted a half hour to apply the foils, if that. No hair got really damaged, and you have an idea of if it's going to work or not to go further, or just fill it and dye it back to level 1 box dye and send her on her way. But
No, I agree, and I think kind of touching on what you said about, like, clients and just I think that's something that I've had to learn the hard way over the years is I was that stylist, like, "Yeah, I can totally do it." And I'll be honest, back in the day, I was, like, panicking every single time that I would have something, like, where they had color in their hair, like, I just didn't know what I was doing, like, a lot of the time, like, it was just, "Okay, how do I do this placement? What like, they want this look, how do
yeah,
I do that?" Now, literally anything could walk in the door, and I feel, like, 100% confident. However, I am very particular with who I accept as clients because I know personality-wise, not everyone is gonna mesh with me, and I
yeah.
feel like it's just a disservice to myself and that person if it's not, like, in alignment, so I've gone back to in-person consultations,
Oh,
not
nice.
only to actually assess their hair because pictures do not look as bad as it is in person, so I've learned the hard way with that, like, "Oh, that'll take 4 hours," and they come in and I'm like, "No, this is, like, 6.5, like, this is a major correction." But it gives you a chance to, like, see if it's a good fit, and talk about your prices, and if they, like, give you a weird face, maybe it's not for them, maybe they need to find someone who's less expensive, that's what I've learned too, because my prices I'm not the cheapest person at all, my prices are definitely up there, so I feel like, not everyone's comfortable with that, so,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
I think
So
it's really helped me, yeah.
part of your personality is on your Instagram. That's how we met, on Instagram.
Yeah,
And I feel like it's so important for stylists to showcase your personality.
mhm,
Like clients will see you if you're like I always use this example. If you like horseback riding, post some shit about horseback riding. It's
totally,
connection points. Go to your story. Show things that you're into in addition to your personal brand of doing hair.
mhm,
But these are connection points for people. Like
yes.
whether it be the gym, whether it be horseback riding, whether it be golf, I don't know, yachting, who knows what you're into. But post some of that in your story, and you have a great Instagram like energy page. Everything about what you do is funny. I think
Thank you.
yeah, how we met is you stitched my my whole thing about dressing the part as a
Oh,
professional,
yeah.
which is meant to really trigger people so they'd share it and
Mhm.
comment, which it worked really well. And
Absolutely.
so my whole thing with that post was I had so many bot followers, and if I delete more than I gain in a certain amount of time, Instagram penalizes you. So I wanted
Mm.
to trigger attention so I can get more follows, and I can start deleting people. So I think I got like 6,000 followers off that post because I
That's
deleted close to
amazing.
5,000. So it's
Oh,
just kind of like,
wow.
yeah,
Dang. Well,
yeah,
that worked out great.
it worked out
Honestly,
really well.
those types of posts are like you said. I mean, I feel like I definitely have posted some like starting fire things
Yeah,
before too. And I mean, some people just can't imagine doing that because it stresses them out having people like comment some nasty stuff. But I think it's worth talking about. I mean, it's like, it's a big, some people don't agree with it. And then there's some people that do. I did. And I just felt like this would be a funny thing. It fits
yeah,
within what I kind
it
of
was so
do. So I
funny.
was like,
Yeah.
this is just perfect. And then here we are now chatting on this podcast. So it's great.
What do you? So you have a program too, right? You have a coaching program or blonding.
Yeah,
You teach classes. Tell me a
I
little more
have
about that.
so many things. So I started with like a little education page on Instagram that I just do like some tutorials and I go live and I just touch on different things. But then I also have, become an educator where I do in-person classes and I'm going to be hosted at other salons next year, have some stuff at my salon. And then also I can do social media sessions with people. So I know that a lot of people need specific help. So it's really hard because everyone is different and it's just me trying to help someone go, okay, well, like, what is your niche? What makes you you? Because that's really makes the difference. Like, we can, like, you and I, we could do the exact same type of hair, but we're completely different people. So, like, we have to showcase that, just like you said, showcase if you ride horses, or I touch on sobriety. I love cats. Like, I talk about this stuff in my stories. So people are like, it's connections. And it's just like, oh, well, I do that. I've literally brought in people that want my blonding services who are sober and also have cats. And it's like, it's just the funniest thing. And it's all because of what I've done on social media. So and people who have good personalities. I like to laugh. I like to have fun. I will do good work, but I want to have fun. And so that's why I do what I do on social media to kind of showcase all that. So,
That's why we did hair too. Like I
yeah,
didn't want to sit behind a desk all day
no,
and work in a stuffy
it's
corporate office.
boring.
It's
It's
not.
boring.
Like
Yeah.
our industry is like I remember the rock star was like the biggest thing back then. Be a rock star. You're a rock star hairstylist. Like we're
Oh,
rock
yeah.
stars. It's just such a fun industry, and it's
I
gotten
completely agree.
like it's went through this phase. Like it's in this phase now of boundaries, which I'm all for boundaries, right? I'm all for like, and I say this on a lot of my shows. But the younger generation, they don't even know what they want to be good at yet, and they set up this wall. Like have your boundaries and policies, but don't be so rigid because you have no clients yet that you don't give it a chance to grow and see what you're into.
It's true.
Like, so I just feel bad for these younger people. And I don't know, like the people who started, I hate bringing up COVID as an example, but they didn't really get a chance to, people who just started a couple years ago when
Yeah.
salons were on lockdown, they never got a chance to really experience what it was like to get into a crazy salon and try a bunch of different things. Because it was so strict once we came back.
Oh,
And then
I
now
know.
it's loosening up now, but
Mhm.
they've gotten a chance to digest the information of only do lived in color, only do this, and you like so many things that section off what they can and can't do.
Mhm.
I think in the beginning, and you can let me know if you feel differently about it, is try everything, right? To figure
Yes,
out what you want your niche to be or your niche. And
I
then from
agree.
there, you start peeling stuff back. All right, I don't like doing this. This doesn't feel right for me. This doesn't feel right for me. I'm going to be a perm specialist. Said no one ever, but
I know.
but what kind of advice would you give to somebody just starting out who sees your work and they see your
Mhm.
personality and they look up to you and they want to be the kind of stylist that you are, but they're not that? Like, what advice will you give to somebody to kind of help them figure out what it is they want to be specific in?
Well, I agree with you. I
Yeah.
think that you should try everything because you have no idea, even though you might want to be a blonde specialist, you might actually be really good at something completely different. So I think that really giving it a fair shot and spending several years doing everything because you never know. And I'm sorry, like you can charge a lot of money if you become good at anything. Like even I know some people that just cut hair that charge an insane amount of money because they are amazing at it. So I feel like people think I can't make a lot of money at haircuts. You can, but you've got to really get good at it. So I think try everything for quite a few years. And then, like you said, maybe you start getting rid of stuff. I spent a lot of time. I mean, I didn't start specializing until like 5, 6 years into the industry. I mean, so I think for me, I just started noticing, I'm getting a lot of requests for blonding. People seem to say a lot, wow, I've never been this blonde, or wow, I've never had my blonde look so good, or whatever. So I thought, you know what? I really enjoy the challenge of blonding, and I think I'm pretty good at it. And I just want to continue moving in that direction. And then I got rid of just blowouts. I got rid of, clipper cuts. I got rid of like just little by little. And now it's just blonding and I do extensions too.
That's
So
awesome.
I love it.
How do
Mhm.
you not justify, what's the word I'm thinking of? How do you help somebody raise their prices? Like when you have a team member maybe comes up to you and you are at a certain price bracket now. How do you help them get over those limited beliefs of like you're worth it? Like what are some steps that you had to do personally to be like, you know what? I need to raise my prices and I am worth it. Like how did you tell
Wow.
yourself that?
That's a good question. I think everyone struggles with that at some point in their career because we are emotionally connected to our clients. We are not just like a 15-minute interaction with somebody. We really get to know our clients and we start to understand what their life, financial situation is like, and we start to feel bad. So for me, I really struggled with that. I can't tell you how many times that I emotionally discounted when I got up to the register and knocked off money so many times. And so for me, it was like, this was so unfair to myself. I felt like I was working so hard and here I am just discounting my services. And I'm like, other industries don't do this. You don't go to the dentist or the doctor or whatever service provider and they don't just emotionally discount. Like they're charging what they're charging. So for me, it was like just going, I am worth it. I am doing good work. People value me, and just really starting to like literally say that to myself and write it out and just honestly put a price menu in your phone. This is what I had to do. So
Okay.
your menu is your menu. The price is the price. You can't change it. So you have to click that, hey, I did a 4-hour blonding service. Boom, that's the price. I can't change it. And so it's like just understanding that you are worth it. If you are, there's lots of things that I think can constitute raising your prices. It's like if you're consistently booked out for like 2 months, that's demand. That alone, like your prices maybe need to go up. The cost of living just continues to rise. So honestly, just to break even with like the prices of products and just the cost of living, you should be raising your prices at least every year, in my opinion. But if you're getting better, if you're doing classes, you are adding value to yourself. And I think that should be, added into your prices. So I guess this is a really long answer, but it's just
No, it's good.
really trying to tell yourself like you are worth it and you just have to get over that and just go, this is what it is. You're going to lose people. If people want a discount, they will move on, and that's okay. You want to make room for the people who value you and will pay your prices. So that's just what I've done, and it's worked out. And yes, it's been hard, but I think 10 years in, I'm finally good to go. So yeah.
I'm a big discounter.
Are
I've
you?
always been like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And not because like it's because I feel bad,
Yeah.
like a single mom, like, you know what? It really was so easy to throw. It's not a big project. So I'm like, I'll throw like 5 highlights in her hair. And I know ahead of time where they're at. And I've always
Mhm.
like, all right, so I do a single, I throw in a couple highlights for free. My God, the highlights are on me. Don't worry about it today. It's never like a big
Um,
project, but I'm also a stacker. So
mhm.
like I'm a power booker. Do you book one at a
Oh,
time?
I do. I do a
Okay.
lot of projects, so for
Yeah.
me, it's just less stress. Yeah.
So for me, I like Saturday, I had 7 people here at once. Literally 7 clients at one time.
Do you
Whether
have
there's
multiple assistants?
I had 3. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So for me, it's like, all right, I'll apply your color. I'll put your foils in your hair. My assistant will put your color on. My assistant's doing your blowout for me. I'm cutting you dry. Then I'm applying a single. Then I'm going to tone the highlights. Literally everything's happening all at once. And
Wow.
I built it up like that because of where my price point's at. I could charge a significantly amount more money, a lot more money,
Mhm. Mhm.
but I choose not to. And I can. My prices aren't cheap by any means, but I know that
Yeah.
that level of customer service is just a touch down because of the personal connection I have with them. And they all know it. Like all my clients know it. A first time client, I'll give them a little extra and let them
Mhm.
know, hey, listen, I'm going to have, Jen help us apply color today and introduce her to how I handle things.
Yeah.
I never let anyone do it really by themselves, apply color, unless it's in between the foils where
Oh, okay.
so they know like that's what we do here. So I had a client
Yeah.
complain. I'm like, I get it, but if you want, I can do your hair alone. My foils are $550 for a full highlight.
For sure.
You
Yeah.
want,
And that's
but
what I've had to
yeah,
do is like, cause that's part of my pricing, right? Is like, you're getting my one-on-one, my attention. So
yeah,
my prices have to reflect that. I mean, if I double book or triple booked, I mean, I could probably make way more money, but I also would feel like I couldn't charge as much
yep,
because I'm having someone assist me and it's not me. People come to me for me.
yep,
So it's like not in an egotistical way, but like I just would be worried and especially now that I've been doing hair by myself for so long, people would probably be like, well, now so and so is doing my blowout. It's not the same. Why am I still paying this? I don't know. It would be
yeah.
hard for me
It
to do
is.
that. Yeah.
It's the one, but my clients understand it now.
Well, how long have
Yeah,
you been doing it? I mean, I think it's amazing. It's
yeah.
something that
I,
eventually I
I,
would like to
I,
go into, but
I do it for two reasons. I've been doing it for like 20. I'm 20. I'm 44. Since I was 18, I've been doing hair.
mhm,
26 years now. You
yeah.
know, and I started doing this when I started getting busy, and I
Mhm,
apply singles with an assistant.
mhm.
I like for them to blow my clients. I hate blowing out hair. I just not. I like cutting hair dry. I'm just so over blowing out hair now that I just passed it on.
Yeah.
But what I did this for training purposes, so they can see how I interact with the client, and they're right
Yes.
next to me applying the color. They're they're getting comfortable with that person, touching them. You know, my clients are my assistants are getting a feel for the energy, how to deal with the conversation when the client's husband passed away, or
Oh,
a
yeah.
child, or something like crazy happens. They're like, well,
Mhm,
what do you say to them? I'm like, you have to control the energy. And it's the
mhm,
responsibility of you being a professional, how to handle that emotion. I've cried
mhm.
before when clients' husband passed away. Like it's just you have to get a
Oh,
grip on yourself. And so they're seeing that firsthand. So when I
yeah.
pass the torch to them for them to get their chair, I know that I'm confident that they're going to be able to handle conversations, consultations, the energy, and how we apply color in circumstances that go wrong in the salon as well. So, and a lot of times I'm like, check my highlights for me. And she's like, I'm like, how's it look? She's like, I think good. I'm like, would you take her down? She's like, I would take her down. I'm like, take her down. She's like, you want to look at him? I'm like, no, if it's fucked up, you're fired. And they're like, no, 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 no. But I know the client. And so I know like she's been on for 20 minutes. Her highlights look quick. She's ready to come down. Like
Yeah.
it's just a client I've been doing for like the last 10 years. And so they get all nervous. I'm like, well, does it look good? She's like, well, now you're making me nervous. I'm like, good, because you should be nervous because clients will make you nervous. And
Yeah.
I've had one of my stylists, she just got off the floor as a junior assistant, a
Mhm.
junior stylist. Now she's a full-blown stylist. And I saw her on Saturday and she had like 4 clients there. Well, throughout she was stacked for the day. She doesn't book like I do by any means. And she just like formulated by herself. She was so calm, cool, and collective. Something didn't come out the way she wanted. She juggled a blowout here, and it was beautiful to watch.
Oh,
And at the end of the
that's
day, I was like in
amazing.
my front office, and she came in and say she was done. And she's like, "All right, I'm leaving. You know, I'm locking up for you." I was like, "Just come in here for a second." I was like, "You know how amazing you did today? Like, look at a year ago. You would have
Yeah.
panicked. You never would have been able to do it. Look how far you came." And
Mhm.
she's like, well, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Think about like you're not even acknowledging the fact that you're this kind of stylist now. Like, you're there.
Oh,
Like, you have to truly Patrick celebrate today. Like whatever you
yes.
do, celebrate the win because you just accomplished something in a year that takes people 5 years to do."
I love that. That's so good that you brought that up because
Yeah.
it really is sometimes hard to see how far we've come. You have to really take a beat and think about it because that's so amazing. Otherwise, we always are never satisfied with like where we're at. And we're always like, I mean, it's great to always have the next
Yeah.
goal, but you have to take a minute to go, wow, like, look what I've done. So I think that that's really cool that you like,
Yeah.
complimented her and celebrated that.
I
That's
only
great.
learned that from coaching. Like I'm the epitome of never celebrating and like more, 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 more.
I mean, I can attest
Yeah.
to that. I mean, I feel like I have to be very intentional because I know it's healthy to go, "Holy shit, look where I was like 5 years ago or 10 years ago." I
Yeah.
mean, it's insane. It's cool.
I have to
Yeah.
put in my calendar at the end of my day, celebrate your wins. I have something at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night.
Oh, do you really?
Every day it goes off. Celebrate your wins because I never do.
Oh, that's
But
so
it's like,
good
all right,
though.
cool. So I think for a second, all right, what did I do good today? And it's I learned it from I did a year of Tony Robbins. So I did his
Oh,
whole ultimate
yes.
mastery. And my coach for
Okay.
his program was like, "What are you celebrating today?" I was like, "Celebrating? I'm fucking nothing. I'm in the middle of work right now, and I'm taking like a half hour to talk to you, which I don't want to do." And then after the end of every call, I was like, "Thank God I did that call." And she's like,
Mhm.
"What are you celebrating today?"
Oh,
It was like, "Oh, cool. Like you should be like, damn it, I came a long way." Like
Mm-hmm.
not drinking for 8 months when I thought that was impossible, having a team
Yeah.
of salon, like a team that actually looks up to you. It's like, holy, like I came from nothing to get here. I'm like, even though it's not where I want to be yet. And the ultimate pathway to unhappiness is comparison. So I'm not where I want to be yet because I'm comparing myself to where other people are or where I
Yes.
think I should be. Like,
Mm-hmm.
get rid of the comparison completely, whether you're comparing yourself to whoever for a moment in time so you can actually celebrate. And then that
Yes.
way you're like, all right, cool. Where's my goals at? Where am I at? And then you like restructure your life and your action to where you should be going in that direction.
Yeah, that's good.
Do
Tony
you
Robbins, so cool.
have you taken any seminars from him before?
I saw him speak. It wasn't a full Tony Robbins
Mhm.
thing. It was like this business. It was about 10 speakers. He was the last one and he spoke for about 3 hours. But I have listened to everything that Tony Robbins has on YouTube or like
Yeah.
audio and like videos out there. So it was an amazing experience and I was like new to sobriety. So it was like a life-changing experience
Yeah.
for me, and I do plan on doing one of his things probably in the next well, soon, because he never
Yeah.
know when he's gonna stop doing it, so
It's nuts. He's in, I think it's close to his late 60s now, mid 60s.
I think he's yeah, I don't know. I didn't think he was quite 60 yet, but
No, he's definitely in his 60s for
really?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know
His
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 voice
voice
has,
is
like,
going. Yes.
issues or something.
So if you think his 3 hours is like nothing for him, how
I know.
bananas is that? Like
Yeah,
he'll
he'll
talk.
have, like, 14-hour days or something.
So UPW was my first Tony Robbins experience. And it was like day one, let's say it started at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
11 o'clock at night, we're still rocking and rolling.
Mhm.
Like
I've heard.
I'm taking stories. My wife's like, what are you doing? Thank God she was away with her mom and my daughter for
Oh, yeah.
for the weekend. And I was like, this is day one. Like, how the fuck? I can't even like mentally think about what tomorrow's gonna be like. Then I did business mastery, which was a phenomenal program. And
Oh,
this is
cool.
where I came up with my new business model for my
Oh.
salons. So they ask you 3 questions. I hope Tony doesn't get pissed. I'm going to ask it because no one's paying for it, but it was life changing. What business do you think you're in? What
Mhm.
business are you really in? And what business do you need to be in? And so myself, I'm like, all right, well, I'm in the hair business, I think, but I'm also e-commerce. I have a website where I sell beauty products. I have my salons. I have my coaching business.
Mhm.
What business am I really in? I was like, well, I'm looking at patterns going on in the industry right now, suites, chair rentals, freedom, independence. And I'm like, well, I don't want to open a suite because I still like the teamwork environment. I still want to coach. I was like, let me just turn the industry upside down and offer
Yeah.
60, 65, and 70% commissions. So this
Which is
way,
amazing. I've never heard of a commission that high, so
yeah.
that's I mean, I don't even know how you do it. That's insane. That's great, though.
Well, I do parts and labor. So I don't have to worry. I'm trying to eliminate any risk on my end. So I put all the color costs on for the clients. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, Erica,
There
you
you go.
come in. We're doing a face trim highlight today. We used 1 bolo lightener, which was, let's say 30 grams. And then we used 1 gloss. So $10. So color
Mhm.
cost is going to make it $15 to be even. And then your service would be 100. So $115. The product cost goes back to the house again. And
Mhm.
then the color is or the service is where you get the commission on. So I'm
Oh,
never
cool.
worried about color waste. I'm never worried about trying to replenish our inventory of products in the
Yeah.
back. And this way, everything's clean across the board. I wanted to charge the clients that and have them stock an inventory in a locker. But I was like, that gets messy.
Yeah.
So let me front load all the money for that, make it even easier for you to not go to a suite and have to buy the color up in the front end.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I literally rolled out the red carpet. And so you can have your own Google My Business page. You can have your own brand. You get enrolled into our coaching program. You get access to the salon with a key. Like you have your own salon. It's literally you have
Yeah.
access to the whole place. And that's what I got from Tony Robbins, the whole business mastery.
Wow.
And
That's
so
super
now I'm
cool.
on my 4th location.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
So
so
how many are they all like in your no, you have a couple in different
I
states,
have
right?
3 in New Jersey. I have 1 in Florida. And so
Wow.
and my business model is a little different too. I have a private membership association. So you can't do chair rentals in New Jersey.
Oh,
But
okay.
if you're a public hair salon, I'm a private hair salon. So under the First
Oh.
Amendment of the Constitution, you have the right to peacefully assemble. Under the 14th, you have the right to private contract. So I'm exercising my constitutional rights by having a private membership association in which
Oh,
our association, we happen to also do hair amongst other things.
interesting.
So because you come in, you become a member, you sign
Mhm.
a membership agreement. Now we are open to do what we want to do in our establishment. Now, unless you're
Oh,
causing substantial harm or evil,
yeah.
the state or government can't interfere with the private contract between our membership agreement.
That's crazy. I've never heard
Yeah.
that's
So
really interesting.
if you think about the southern states, how they have like
Yeah.
dry counties, a lot of them,
Mhm.
but there's still bars in dry counties because they're private.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So very similar to that. And that's where I was at right during the pandemic. I opened my PMA. So we became a
Okay.
private hair salon. So state board couldn't come in here and shut us down. Neither could the
Yeah.
state or the government. So, we're not causing any harm, no substantial evil to anybody. So please mind your business. But we're not open to the public. So you have to join. And
Yeah.
membership dues are incurred after every visit. So they're
Interesting.
enrolled, and they're enrolled with your pricing for your highlights or haircut or whatever. Or if you come in to hang out or pray or meditate or whatever you want to do, you can do anything you want here. And we also do private events. So like Eric, if you wanted to come out here and you wanted to do hair for a week while you taught classes here, like let's say you taught a class on a Sunday, Monday, and then do hair Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, because
Yeah.
you have followers that follow you, you can do that without a Jersey license because we're private.
What? Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
really crazy. I
I
love
try
that.
and think, I like disrupting a lot of things in the way things are
No
done.
kidding.
So, but to me, why should the state board tell me that I can or can't do hair
Yeah.
when A, I'm not open to the public, I'm only private, but B, you're giving people licenses in New Jersey without testing them because of COVID. So now you just lost my trust and authority.
Yeah.
So I took matters in my own hands.
There you
And
go.
so they threatened to find my salon in Parsippany because we were open and without a license, but we're not open to the public. And so it's stated all over my locations. I have one location that is a public hair salon in Chatham. And so, we're open to the public in there and it's like a regular hair salon, but every other location is private. And so I have signage all throughout the salon and we make it known that we are not open to the public.
Okay.
And so when you come in, you're more than welcome. We don't deny anyone based on race, gender, creed, whatever the hell you believe in.
Yeah.
But so anyone can join. And if you
Wow.
like, we do daddy daughter days also. So I want to teach dads how to do their daughter's hair.
Oh
And
my
so the
god.
moms can go out and have fun. And
That's super cute.
if we were open to the public, we would be fined because a person who isn't licensed can't touch somebody else's hair in a salon
Interesting. Yeah.
based on the rules of state board in our state,
Wow.
at least. So
I'm sure that's probably similar to Washington too,
yeah.
but that's a actually a really good idea.
Mhm.
Daddy's and Daughter Day. That's smart.
Yeah, because how many dads now stay at home or they have to deal with their
Exactly.
daughter's hair? It's a dual
Mhm.
income. Some moms have
Yep.
to do stuff in the morning. And so, yeah, learn how to comb out your daughter's hair. Learn how to
Yeah.
braid it. Put it back in a ponytail. These little girls looking crazy going to school.
Yeah. My dad could have benefited from it, but I don't think I would have ever let him touch my hair. I was like, nope, my mom all the way. But that's cute.
So do you teach a course like on Kajabi or how's your program work out? Like, how do you do that?
So I'm kind of in the works with doing that sort of
Mhm.
format. So I haven't launched everything yet, but I will be having like a social media one. I'm probably going to do like a hair photography, videography one.
Ooh, nice.
And then of course some blonding stuff. So, and then I think I'm going to even have, I'm actually going to work on that this week, some digital downloads. So like I spent a lot of time on my contract because, I think it's
Yeah.
important for everyone to have one. Otherwise, things will happen at some point and it just protects you and like outlines your policies. So I
Okay,
spent a lot of time on it. It's very thorough. So I'm going to basically have that as a digital download for purchase and, just have some other like PDF style things for people to like
Yeah.
read, but then also have like video stuff as well in the future.
Your blonding contract or your contract with your booth renters?
My blonding, like my
Okay.
client
Yes,
contract.
my
Yeah.
contract. Cool.
Yeah. So it's like, it's really in depth.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's something my team
Yeah.
wanted to know about with me. I honestly don't have I personally don't have a policy for anything. For me.
No, you don't?
No, my clients never ever really don't ever no show. Like they always come.
Oh, well, that's good.
And
That's
the
good.
way I book, if they get jammed up and cancel, I have like 4 other people coming in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm just
for
like,
me, it's like a
yeah, it's a
huge,
huge
it
thing.
really
So I
impacts. Yeah.
so I've helped them with contracts before, and they ask, "What do you do?" I'm like, Nicole, I don't do anything because if they cancel, I'm kind of happy because I'm like, oh shit. And that's why when clients call, like, oh, I'm running late. When should I come in? I'm like, just come whenever. We'll figure it out. And that's why I'm like, listen, I can't put your color on, but I'm going to mix it for you. And then Bree will put it on, or Deneen will put
Yeah.
it on. Yeah. And so this way, I'm spreading the wealth to everyone as an owner because we are commissioned. And so it benefits me to benefit them.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's why I did it. But policies are really important. And that's one area where I lack in. So I might have to purchase that download from you.
Well, I definitely have
Yeah.
had things have happened over the years, and I know one of our stylists is going through something right now, and she didn't have a contract, and it could have, I told her, I said, well, as much as this sucks, like it's just take this as a learning lesson because some clients are impossible to to reason with. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how polite you are, professional, how many points that you have, it's just the reality. So having a contract basically protects you from if someone ever wants to try something,
Yeah.
you have their signature on that contract that states all this.
And
So,
so have you ever had somebody try to deny a credit card charge and the contract
currently
help?
going through that right
Okay.
now, my first one in 10 years.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to go to court with it,
Okay.
honestly,
That's
because
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah. I can't wait to go
it's
to
a
court.
really shitty situation, to be
It
honest.
sucks.
It was because I thankfully took before and after photos. This was before I had a contract. So this is what made me kind of get to that point because I did an amazing job on her hair and she tipped me and then disputed it a month later. I reached out, never heard from her. And then reached out again 2 months after that, still didn't hear from her. And then 4 months after the fact, she messages me and says that I turned her, like damaged her hair and she would refuse to come in for me to assess the hair. But like, it's so obvious to me, like what happened. I think she just did her own hair and was just trying to scam me
Yeah.
out of the money. So I'm like, I don't damage people's hair. I know what I'm doing. And she sent this picture of like, it's like a picture of like showing this down and it looks really orange. I'm guessing she like toned her hair and lifted her natural and turned it orange and is trying to blame it on me, which I'm like, her blonde would have never gone to that from what I did. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We had something similar happen with one of my team members, and she didn't have a policy in place.
Mhm.
And then she came back after the price, said we didn't agree on that. It wouldn't be 2 stages. And had she outlined that in a policy and she
Mhm.
signed off on it, it would have been all done. Because I had
Yeah.
to go back and jump in and be like, well, no, she did explain that to you during a consultation. She's like, no, she didn't. I was like, well, I did hear her say that to you. So maybe you weren't paying attention, or you just maybe didn't understand what she said. But I
Yeah.
was right next to her when she said that to you. So maybe you didn't hear her. I'm not saying you didn't hear her, but had we had a contract, it would have been like, well, Vanessa, on section 2, you signed it. It said that
Yeah.
it would take 3 visits.
And
I
I
think that's
just
something.
really believe in under promising and over delivering. And I've even talked about having something like that in the salon. Like, this is what we talked about. This is what we're agreeing to. Like, signature, really simple of like, or video the whole thing,
Yeah.
something that shows like, no, this happened
Yeah.
because it sucks when you go through that. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
it's
annoying.
just stressful.
Because
Mhm.
you're out of the money, you're out of the service, plus you're out of the product,
Yeah.
and you get
Yeah.
charged from the credit card company. So it's like you get banged by the fee for the credit card dispute. You lose the money, comes out of your account, plus the product's gone, plus you're dealing with the client, plus you're dealing with the stress. Just having a
Yeah.
policy really does help a lot of things.
Yeah. The
It
stress is
really does.
probably the worst for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Erica. So we could probably talk for like 10 more hours. We got to
I
definitely do this
know.
again. Have to do
Yeah.
this again.
I know. This is so fun.
So one last time, where can they find you on Instagram? I'm going to throw it across the screen over here.
Erica Six Style.
Okay, cool. Do you have a YouTube or anything too?
No, but I think I'm gonna be moving into that. I
Okay.
just once I get more people to help me
Yeah.
with things, that's definitely something I'm interested in doing.
And then your salon's website?
It's Blonde Culture Salon, and then I have my own website, which
Mhm.
is ericasixstyle.com.
All right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, please follow her. Go to her website, check it out. She's an amazing stylist. She's also really, really funny. So if you want some salon humor, industry humor, check out her Instagram. It's hysterical.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Erica, thank you again for your time. It was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much.